Tonight, trade war truce. Canada announces a deal with China.
Mr. Prime Minister, welcome. Good morning.
A break for Canadian canola, disappointment for the auto industry.
In my opinion, it's unacceptable.
That puts Canada out of step with the U.S. Donald Trump's surprising reaction. WestJet's big reversal. The airline cancels a plan to reduce legroom.
It's tight enough as it is.
We all like more legroom.
How passengers fought back and won. The problem with celebrities saying they have Lyme disease.
This creates this perception that, like, oh, if Justin Timberlake got it, then that means that we're all at risk.
Private testing and pricey treatment not supported by science.
People are getting taken advantage of, like they really are.
A CBC News investigation.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Mark Carney is leaving China tonight, trade deal in hand. It removes barriers affecting billions of dollars of goods. Beijing is dropping most of its tariffs on Canadian canola seed, and Ottawa is slashing tariffs for almost 50,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada a year, part of a new strategic partnership that carries a message. Carney mentioning pragmatism, realism, and the need to deal with the world as it is, a world where he says China has become more predictable than Canada's greatest ally, the United States. We have more on the reaction from both the political and business side. But first, let's start with what we know about the deal. From Ashley Burke in Beijing.
Welcome.
After meeting with China's president to move past years of tension, Mark Carney announcing a breakthrough.
Today, Canada and China have reached a preliminary but landmark trade agreement to remove trade barriers and reduce tariffs.
The Prime Minister telling business leaders it's the start of a new era with Beijing.
Canada now has set the goal of doubling our exports to China by the end of this decade.
I am heartened by the progress.
Chinese President Xi Jinping says there's been a turnaround in relations. Carney says China is agreeing to drop tariffs on Canadian canola meal, lobster, crab, and peas, and lowering tariffs hitting Canadian canola seed to about 15% by March.
This change represents a significant drop from the current combined tariff levels of 84%.
But no movement on pork or canola oil. In return, Carney agreeing to verge from the United States, slashing a 100% tariff on up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles entering Canada. A move that could upset Ontario's hard-hit auto sector. After this tariff deal, Carney asked if he now sees China as a more predictable partner than the United States.
Yes, in terms of the way that our relationship has progressed in recent months with China, it is more predictable, and you see results coming from that.
Less than a year ago, Carney called China the biggest threat to Canada's security. Now he says Canada faces many threats in the world, but it's his job to manage them. The Prime Minister also says that he stands up for human rights, but the government takes the world as it is, not how it wishes it could be. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Beijing.
Kate McKenna now on the reaction to this deal, which may increase trade, but comes with trade-offs and risks.
It's a truce in Beijing and Ottawa's trade war, sparking relief in some parts of Canada, anxiety in others.
It's very, very good news. It's good news for my farm. It's good news for canola farmers across Canada.
We're in the fight of our lives here. The reality is this industry is the foundation of advanced manufacturing in Canada. It is critically important that we protect it.
Canada's auto sector is already facing existential threats from Donald Trump, now allowing China to export some EVs into Canada has industry and Ontario's premier furious.
This is going to be terrible for not only just all the people of Ontario, but especially the auto manufacturers, the supply chain.
Canada's new era of cooperation with China comes with political risk both at home and abroad.
We take the world as it is, not as we wish it to be.
I think in the long run, they're not going to like having made that deal.
This move pushing Canada farther from the United States. The tariffs on Chinese EVs were put in place to match the Americans.
There's a reason why we don't sell a lot of Chinese cars in the United States. It's because we have tariffs to protect American auto workers and Americans from those vehicles.
But the U.S. president himself didn't seem to care.
And it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
This is Carney's most significant trade breakthrough after months of failing to get a deal with the United States.
Both the United States and China have weaponized trade. China was the first to weaponize trade against Canada. And so I don't think we should go from the arms of one trading partner that has been problematic straight into the arms of a second one.
With this deal, Mark Carney is trying to balance a lot of competing interests, industries, regions, national security, and U.S. relations. It's a political tightrope, and it may be inevitable that there are winners and there are losers.
And Kate, we know that federal officials briefed the premiers today. How did that go?
Yeah, among other things, they told the premiers that they intend to address broader support for the auto industry in response to what's happening in the U.S. That's set to happen over the next few weeks. But sources say premiers did express concerns, especially Doug Ford.
Thanks for this, Kate McKenna in Ottawa. The biggest shift that consumers may notice is the arrival of more Chinese electric vehicles to Canadian showrooms. Nisha Patel now on the potential impact for the industry and consumers.
Canada's deal with China could shake up this country's auto sector and the companies that already do business here.
This issue is just, it's not helped the industry out. It's actually complicated it even further by adding one more piece of uncertainty into an already uncertain environment.
Ottawa will allow annual imports of 49,000 Chinese-made electric vehicles at a low tariff rate. While that's less than 3% of all new vehicles sold, it makes up almost 19% of the market for new zero-emission vehicles.
Every single sale counts. It's much better to get that sale from a company that's manufacturing here, that's buying supplies here, and employing Canadians here.
The Prime Minister said he expects the agreement to drive new Chinese investments in Canada over the next 3 years, though he provided few details.
What does that manufacturing footprint look like is a huge question. What is the guarantee in terms of jobs and how many people will actually work in a Chinese EV factory in Ontario if we get to that point?
For Chinese brands like BYD, it's an opportunity to break into the Canadian market. The company is growing fast in Latin America, Australia, and the UK, helped by low labor costs and huge government support. Last year, BYD sold the most EVs in the world.
It's more choice for the consumer. It's newer tech, interesting tech, and of course lower prices. That's a big thing for consumers.
That fresh competition could kickstart sales in Canada's sluggish EV market. Chinese-made EVs could ring up at less than $35,000 each, putting pressure on players like Tesla to offer more affordable options.
It's not clear when Chinese EVs like BYD's might be available here. Automakers could ramp up production and ship models quickly, but they'll still need certification to meet Canadian safety standards. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
While leaving Beijing tonight, reporters were told Prime Minister Carney has been invited to take on a key role in Gaza's post-war development. The PM boarded his plane earlier tonight for a flight to Doha. While on board, a senior government official told us Donald Trump has invited Carney to join his newly established Board of Peace, and he intends to accept. The executive board, chaired by Trump, will steer the next phase of Gaza's post-war reconstruction and governance. It's not just China Canadian leaders are looking at to expand trade. BC's premier is in India, talking up the province's resources. But as South Asia correspondent Salima Shivji shows us, the trip isn't sitting well with Sikh activists in Canada.
India bustling and booming. A hub of activity in financial capital Mumbai, with economic growth steady at 7%.
It's incredible.
That's what BC's premier wants to get in on as he wraps up a week-long trade mission.
Yeah, we're in the business of mining copper.
Talking up the province's resources. Not just the potential for liquefied natural gas to provide fuel that India needs, but also critical minerals like copper mined in Canada or nickel and cobalt, essential for the massive solar farms and battery storage that are part of India's clean energy transition.
just a huge priority for so many of these huge companies that are in India. And that means that they're interested in partnering with our junior mining companies in British Columbia.
The focus now squarely on trade, buying raw materials and sharing tech, even if less than a year ago, diplomatic ties between the two countries were strained after allegations from Ottawa that India was behind the killing of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil. Until this warm welcome at the G7, followed by a promise to work on a comprehensive economic partnership. But it's a tricky path. For some activists in the Sikh diaspora, EB's trip is a betrayal. Still, the Premier says trade is a separate matter entirely.
There's a criminal trial process going on, but also we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves economically.
And it's not just Canadian leaders who are keen for more trade with India. Now the world's fourth largest economy, the country is impossible to ignore.
Germany's chancellor was also in India this week, and an EU-India trade deal looks imminent. Pragmatism, the key word, as country after country, feeling the pressure from an unpredictable U.S. and its tariffs, search for more stable partners. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
Minneapolis is again on edge tonight as clashes continue between protesters and law enforcement. The violence follows last week's fatal shooting of a woman by an ICE officer. Paul Hunter now with the latest political and legal fallout, including a new investigation by the Department of Justice.
The federal show of force on full display again in Minneapolis, with immigration agents responding to the fury against their presence like this. That after another night of tear gas, confrontation, and mayhem.
There's 6 of you!
With demonstrators pushing back at agents sent in to arrest and deport those deemed undocumented immigrants. The anger not least because of the way that's been happening. Agents at times yanking people from their cars, some identifying as U.S. citizens. The anger and fear ever stronger now in the days after an agent shot and killed one of the demonstrators in her SUV.
What did you do?
To Minnesotans, thank you for your courage, for your bravery.
Democratic lawmakers meeting in Minneapolis, underlining a congressional investigation into the use of deadly force may follow.
We've got your back, and we will do what we need to do in Congress to advocate fiercely for you.
We are so grateful to have you here today.
The city's mayor, Jacob Frey, was among those testifying, slamming what he called an unnecessary abuse of force directed by Donald Trump at a state that failed to support him in the last election.
This is about political retribution. And we in Minneapolis are suffering the brunt of it right now.
Trump campaigned on a pledge to deport undocumented immigrants, and countless Americans voted for him on that basis. The White House calls the actions of the agents justified, labeling the protesters radical left lunatics.
Mr. President!
Trump himself now confirming he'd invoke the 200-year-old U.S. Insurrection Act and send in the U.S. military if he so chooses.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Meanwhile, Erica reports that the U.S. Justice Department is now going after the mayor of Minneapolis and State Governor Tim Walz, issuing subpoenas for both, alleging they are impeding federal officers' abilities to do their jobs.
And Paul, there's a different kind of demonstration planned tomorrow on the streets of Minneapolis.
Indeed, this one in support of the immigration agents, raising fears tensions will rise ever higher as a result. The demonstration's being organized by a man who himself was convicted for assaulting police during the Capitol Hill riots, January 6th, 2021. He spent 4 years in prison for that, but was pardoned last year by Donald Trump.
Paul Hunter in Washington, thanks for this. Trump is also making more threats around his desire to take over Greenland. He now says any countries that oppose him may face tariffs.
I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security, so I may do that.
His comments come as more European military personnel arrive in Greenland in a so-called reconnaissance mission. WestJet is now fully reversing its plan to install tight seating layouts after backlash over less legroom. The airline says it will return converted cabins to their original configurations. Julia Wong shows us what led to the about face.
Dad, could you just straighten out your legs there?
Impossible.
Weeks after this tight squeeze on a WestJet plane went viral, the airline is making a major reversal, scrapping a plan that reduced legroom for some passengers.
My dad's folded like a pretzel.
The Alberta rancher who posted that video, which has been seen more than 1 million times, is pleasantly surprised.
It still does feel a little bit surreal that it did make such a big change in the end.
WestJet decided last year to reconfigure its planes and add an extra row. The reason? Keep ticket prices low. In December, it put the program on pause after negative feedback. Then the video and uproar. WestJet's CEO now saying it is important to react quickly if new products don't meet the needs of our guests. For passengers, it's welcome news.
I usually have my knees right up against the seat in front of me, so I think it's great.
Oh, that makes me happy. It's tight enough as it is.
We all like more legroom. I don't think you'll meet a single passenger who shows up and says, I want less legroom on this flight.
One business professor says the controversy, a warning for competitors.
This is a pretty strong cautionary tale for Canadian airlines, any of them who were thinking about not only making their seats smaller, but considering any move that would degrade the customer experience in the expense of profits.
This aviation expert says more changes could happen if flyers continue to speak out.
The same line can be drawn for checked baggage fees, for seat selection. So there are a number of things that I believe Canadians can reclaim from the industry.
WestJet declined an interview request. In a statement, it says it will revert 21 planes back to their original seat configuration, but says it cannot commit to a firm timeline. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
The Federal Court of Appeal has ruled it was unreasonable for the Liberal government to use the Emergencies Act 4 years ago to end the convoy protests.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act.
The Trudeau government invoked the act to shut down a noisy blockade in front of Parliament Hill. Some protesters were arrested while others had bank accounts frozen. Civil liberty groups won a court challenge against the move 2 years ago, and today the appeals court agreed with that decision. Washington appears to be scaling back its threats of intervention in Iran as demonstrations there quiet down. As Margaret Evans shows us, that hasn't eased fears from family and friends cut off from their loved ones inside the country.
What's left behind? The husk of a mass protest Iran's rulers may have crushed for now, but one with embers its supporters say are destined to burn again. The streets in Tehran are apparently quiet, an internet blackout still in place, leaving public protests to Iranians living abroad. Sarah is marching to the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa. She has family in Iran, so we're shielding her identity.
We're here to ask the international community, the American government, that we need practical, urgent action.
U.S. President Donald Trump is seen by many to have stood down from pledges to intervene if protesters were killed.
Iran canceled the hanging of over 800 people. They were going to hang over 800 people yesterday, and I greatly respect the fact that they canceled that.
Reza Pahlavi, exiled son of Iran's former Shah, says he still believes Trump will act and that he has a role to play.
I will return to Iran. I am uniquely positioned to ensure a stable transition.
He has a constituency, not universal, but it does include Sarah, who believes he has the best chance of changing Iran's destiny and so that of her family back home. She's received only a brief phone call.
My mother said people are afraid. People have nothing in their hands. They go out and they face live ammunition. They face bullets and they die.
More video of security forces using lethal force was posted recently. along with more images of the dead. Activist Soran Mansournia says fear works, but not forever.
I expect less than 3 years we have another wave of protests in this scale and even much bigger.
Hope, he says, can't be entirely extinguished. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Water restrictions have finally lifted in Calgary after nearly 3 weeks caused by a major water main break.
But the elephant in the room is, when is it going to break again?
The infrastructure still under pressure. Next.
Deep center.
Plus, beloved Blue Jays star Bichette is leaving Toronto.
It's a bummer, you know. I mean, he's been an integral part of this Blue Jays organization.
Where it leaves the team with eyes on the World Series. And the big name these BC kids dropped to get out of class.
He wrote a very nice late slip for the kids so that, you know, they wouldn't get in trouble.
So, did it work? We're back in 2. After more than 2 weeks, Calgary is lifting all water restrictions now that a water main break is patched.
I'm glad that it's over, and hopefully it won't start again until, you know, way.
The elephant in the room is, when is it going to break again?
The feeder main has broken twice in less than 2 years. Now it needs replacing. Longtime infielder Bichette is leaving Toronto, signing a massive 3-year deal with the New York Mets. Jamie Strachan shows us where it leaves the Blue Jays and fans.
Three-run home run, Bichette!
Say it ain't so, Bo. It turns out this epic home run in Game 7 of the World Series was Bichette's last big moment in Toronto. The lifelong Blue Jay is heading to the New York Mets, the recipient of a massive 3-year contract worth $126 million US.
The staff inside were saying these won't be around very long.
Even on a wintry Toronto day, fans snapped up Bichette merch as news trickled out.
He's been an integral part of this Blue Jays organization, and seeing him leave for a different team, it sucks.
And Bo drills it to left field.
There was hope the all-star infielder would stay in Toronto, part of a 1-2 punch alongside Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for years to come.
To see it come to an end without them having the opportunity to win a championship together, I think it brings a little bit of sadness to the fan base.
Bichette, his first big league home run.
Since arriving, the soft-spoken Bichette was a fan favorite, and questions about his future started immediately after Toronto's heartbreaking World Series loss.
It's been an incredible journey. I've obviously grown up here in so many different ways.
Bichette is the second big-name free agent this week to snub the Jays. Outfielder Kyle Tucker, coveted by Toronto, chose the Dodgers.
It would be easy to sort of dismiss the Blue Jays as also-rans when it comes to free agency, but I think it would also be a mistake. This team is committed to spending.
The Jays have lavished nearly $350 million on new players, adding key pieces like pitcher Dylan Cease and Japanese star Kazuma Okamoto, making it a little easier to say goodbye to an old favorite and look forward to what next season might bring. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's last daily Chinese language newspaper has printed its final edition.
It's really sad. We miss the actual box and newspaper.
Why it's closing its Canadian newsrooms. Plus, we've seen protests in Iran before, but not like this.
This is a regime that is armed head to toe.
What makes these demonstrations different? The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. Canada's only Chinese-language daily newspaper prints its final editions today. The parent company of Ming Pao is shutting down offices in Ontario and BC. Michelle Song now on the closure being called a big loss.
Picking up a copy for the last time, the only daily Chinese-language newspaper in Canada, Ming Pao Daily News printed its final Canadian editions, leaving dedicated readers devastated. I've been reading Ming Pao for over 40 years, says Wang Yu. I've been losing sleep. The paper says tens of thousands read the paper weekly, and it prints thousands of copies across Canada on a daily basis. Established in Hong Kong in the 50s, Ming Pao opened its Canadian newsrooms in Toronto and Richmond, BC in 1993. And for many in the Chinese Canadian community, the paper was considered a lifeline.
There's a lot of research that shows that when you don't have reliable access to local news, you're less likely to engage civically, you're less likely to volunteer, you're less likely to trust your neighbors.
All 60 staff members in Canada will be laid off. The paper's parent company cites financial problems, but the union representing Toronto employees says Ming Pao did receive more than $1 million from the Online News Act last year.
They couldn't continue to sustain the journalism, and that in itself is something that we really have to do something about, because we are losing journalists.
But some activists also point to Beijing's political influence on Chinese language news publications, driving audiences away.
Most of the Chinese language newspaper or radio or television have been sort of controlled by pro-China forces. They are encouraged to cover good news from China. And this is a trend that's not new.
Ming Pao was the last Chinese daily newspaper in Canada. With an aging readership, this paper is now another victim in a struggling media industry. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. The online frenzy around Lyme disease, driven partly by Hollywood hype.
People are getting taken advantage of, like they really are.
The facts and science of chronic Lyme disease. But first,
I don't believe that the government has been able to crush people's hope and determination for change.
The Iranian People's Uprising met with deadly force. Protesters have filled the streets before. Why some say this time is different. Ashley Fraser breaks down the state of the current protests and their causes and what might happen next.
It's been weeks since nationwide protests broke out in Iran. But it isn't the first time we have seen protests over Iran's regime and religious leaders. So why are these protests different? Fatima Shams is a Persian studies professor and exiled writer from Iran. She says it's important to know how the recent protests started to understand why they are different.
The protests start from the heart of the bazaar in Tehran. Also tells us that the economic grievances that we have been talking about are no longer sustainable, in the sense that they have completely disrupted the everyday life of the people.
And then they quickly exploded beyond economic concerns to political ones.
You see small towns going up against the regime that used to be the bastions of the regime. The bazaar, the market, the traditional heartbeat of the Iranian small industries and trade, historically a bastion of financial help for the clergy, they are angry.
That's Abbas Milani, an Iranian-American historian. He says the expansive protests across rural and urban areas don't point to a push for a particular policy like they have in the past. Instead, they are calling for widespread regime change that's led by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei.
Now, the demands are death to Khamenei and end to the regime. Last but not least, the regime is now at its weakest point.
Abbas says that weakness stems from the 12-day war with Israel last June. During that war, the US bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and the government took a serious hit, with a loss of allies Syria and Lebanon.
The regime's second most powerful person after Khamenei, his name was Qasem Soleimani, he led Quds Brigade. He was assassinated. The regime never imagined that anyone in the region, US and Israel, would dare do that to him, because he had created this image of omnipotence. They killed some of the top Iranian generals working for the IRGC on Iran's nuclear program. All of that regionally and locally weakened the people's image of invincibility.
And Shams says the regional isolation that followed led to a lack of trust in the government.
People realize that this is a government that has taken away their social freedom and their basic human rights, and not only is not able to meet their most basic expectations and needs, but it's also a government that leaves them alone in the time of war.
And the scale of response from these protests from the regime is another thing making them different from the past. First off, the death toll compared to previous crackdowns on protesters is far higher. One report suggests over 2,500 Iranians were killed. However, numbers are hard to verify. Other reports suggest that the death toll could be as high as 12,000. According to Reuters last Friday, Iran's judiciary chief vowed that punishment for the protesters will be decisive, maximum, and without any legal leniency. Plus, the regime has also responded with its most sophisticated digital blackout ever.
Churchill used to talk about the Iron Curtain. The regime has really literally tried to create a digital Iron Curtain.
One independent monitoring group shows that Iran's connectivity dropped starting on January 8th, essentially cutting off the majority of all communication to outside the country. And because this technology is more sophisticated, workarounds like using a VPN are increasingly difficult. The most reliable method is using a satellite like Starlink. However, Shams says having access to Starlink is incredibly risky.
This time people are being tracked down, and there has been security guidelines circulating in the social media that people have to follow in order not to be tracked down.
So is the international response different this time? Well, US President Donald Trump has threatened to intervene beyond sanctions, which have been used in the past.
If they hang him, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy. We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
But it's not clear if a US military intervention is likely, as Trump hasn't given any details. And while there have been years of protest in Iran, none have toppled the government. But could it be different this time? The regime doesn't seem to be backing down, but both Shams and Milani believe this won't stop Iranians.
The situation on the ground is a mixture of horror and shock. People are scared of leaving their houses. I don't believe that the government has been able to crush people's hope and determination for change. But this is a regime that is armed head to toe and has no limit and no red line.
The problem is that we got people to come into the street. The economic dislocations and poverties and inequalities, that's going to remain. So even if they do kill their way into temporary silence, there will be, I think, a new cycle of resistance.
In his Friday sermon, Iran's senior cleric called for the death penalty for detained demonstrators and threatened the U.S. president. Trump himself struck a conciliatory tone, thanking Iran's leaders for not yet executing hundreds of protesters. Coming up, the rush to diagnose Lyme disease and what the medical science has to say about it.
I think there's been an intense desire to have a simple explanation for why people feel unwell.
An investigation into a growing trend spurred by celebrity accounts. That's next. From Bieber to Timberlake, a steady stream of celebrities are claiming to suffer from chronic Lyme disease.
If Justin Timberlake reports that he has Lyme disease, every single media outlet is going to report on it.
But are people being properly diagnosed and treated?
For a lot of people, I think they might be carrying more anxiety about Lyme disease than they really need to.
CBC's senior health reporter Christine Birak investigates the industry behind the so-called chronic Lyme disease.
Lyme disease is real, and it's on the rise in Canada.
Cases of Lyme disease appear to be on the rise.
Cases of Lyme disease are rising in Canada.
But there seems to be a lot of fear and confusion around it. even more so as celebrity after celebrity claims to have it.
There's kind of this obligation that, like, if Justin Timberlake reports that he has Lyme disease, every single media outlet is going to report on it.
Pop star Justin Timberlake has revealed that he has been diagnosed with Lyme disease.
And so then this creates this perception that, like, oh, if Justin Timberlake got it, you know, then that means that we're all at risk.
But are we really all at risk? And should you be worried?
For a lot of people, I think they might be carrying more anxiety about Lyme disease than they really need to.
As a senior health reporter for over a decade, I've covered Lyme disease. But as these celebrity cases kept popping up, I started digging deeper into it and discovered a sort of parallel reality of testing, diagnosis, and treatments, not based on science.
I think a lot of people get drawn into pseudoscience and these sorts of fake diagnoses because they feel dismissed.
We're going to get into that more in a minute, and we're not just talking about celebrities here. There are a lot of people making a lot of claims about Lyme disease, so let's break it down. Lyme disease is an infection transmitted through the bite of a black-legged tick, but keep in mind, not all bites lead to Lyme.
If you get bitten by a tick and you pull it off within 24 hours, there's an almost 0% chance that you would get Lyme disease, even if that tick was carrying the bacteria.
Symptoms of the disease can include a bullseye rash, fever, fatigue, muscle and joint aches. Early antibiotic treatment cures the majority of people, and experts say in known risk areas, early Lyme can be straightforward to diagnose.
The clinical diagnosis of early stage Lyme disease is pretty reliable, and if you have a really classic picture, you don't necessarily even have to do testing to get treatment.
Cases are rising in Canada. In 2024, there were about 5,700 reported cases of Lyme disease. Most were concentrated in Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Quebec. So we wanted to know, what are the case numbers like in California that's home to so many celebrities?
Likelihood or the presumption that there's a lot of Lyme disease there is just not supported by surveillance data. So for example, California as a state has less than 1% of the nation's, the US cases of Lyme disease.
Now you might be thinking celebrities travel a lot. Maybe they picked up Lyme in a known risk area, and that is possible. But when you take a closer look, it's pretty clear that most of them are talking about something called chronic Lyme disease. It's a belief that the bacteria that causes Lyme stays in a person's system, needing constant, costly treatment. However, it's not supported by science or recognized by mainstream medicine.
Many of us that study Lyme disease don't think after initial antibiotic treatment that there is still bacteria harbored there that would respond to antibiotics.
That point is key to understand because the so-called chronic Lyme industry profits from the opposite belief, selling costly, unproven treatments that can carry serious threats to your health.
People are getting taken advantage of. Like they really are. There's a whole industry around chronic Lyme disease, and people are feeding that industry with their time and their energy and their money and their hopes.
Experts stress that for most people, early Lyme is very treatable. So why then is there so much talk about so-called chronic Lyme, and what's behind it all? Well, there's a number of reasons, but let's start with testing. Testing for Lyme disease in Canada is a two-step process done through licensed and accredited public health labs. Testing can only detect antibodies built to fight the Lyme bacteria, not the disease itself. The tests are reliable, but they're not perfect.
It becomes a struggle where we don't have a clear black and white test that says, do you have Lyme disease or not?
Yet private labs promise conclusive Lyme test results, often for people with no known tick bite or exposure. And experts say those unvalidated tests are not reliable.
They claim that they're providing you a more accurate, a more sensitive test for Lyme disease. They advertise urine-based tests, which are just wholly inappropriate. You would never diagnose Lyme disease using a urine-based test.
In fact, Love called out model Bella Hadid when she reportedly posted a urine test as proof of Lyme to her millions of followers. And make no mistake, people are making big money off these tests. By some estimates, the market is worth over 15 billion US and growing. So why is there so much demand?
I think there's been an intense desire to have a simple explanation for why people feel unwell. And there's definitely people that feel unwell which have medically unexplained symptoms.
Now, it seems like we all know someone suffering with some kind of chronic illness. You might be yourself. And there are people in pain with symptoms they can't get answers for. So let's stop for a moment and be very clear here. That suffering is real. People often report feeling dismissed by the healthcare system, and they need and deserve help. That is not being questioned here. But people also need to know that private testing carries serious risk. Research shows illnesses like Parkinson's and cancer can be missed if people think they have Lyme. And consider this study. It looked at almost 1,300 patients with suspected Lyme disease. The results were striking. 84% of them did not have Lyme. Instead, researchers discovered nearly 140 other conditions that were responsible for the patient's symptoms, some of which are treatable. And that's why a private Lyme test result can be so harmful.
And so if you get a positive test, people might think that, oh, finally I have an answer for my health issues, and might go all in on any recommended therapies. But, you know, the problem with that is if you're relying on a unvalidated test, you might be getting treatment that you don't need for a condition that you don't have.
Treatment for early Lyme disease can be pretty simple. Antibiotics taken for 2 to 4 weeks works for most people. Now, it is important to note here, untreated Lyme can spread to the joints, the heart, and the nervous system. And it's rare, but some people continue to have debilitating symptoms months after treatment for confirmed Lyme disease. Doctors call that post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, and to date, there's no cure for it.
I've spent about $20,000 on Lyme treatment, so here's everything that I've learned.
Let's go get some biopuncture.
SOT's got a lot of buzz in the Lyme disease and chronic Lyme disease treatment world right now.
But alternative unproven treatments for so-called chronic Lyme are proliferating. These can include herbs and supplements, IV therapy, ozone, blood, irradiation, and much more. Long-term antibiotics are often used, despite the fact that research shows prolonged antibiotic use doesn't improve lingering Lyme symptoms and can carry serious risks. Our investigation into Lyme disease revealed over and over again calls for more research into chronic illnesses. Patients are suffering, and many say they're being ignored by our medical system. While doctors are empathetic, they say evidence needs to lead the way here. And everyone, including us in the media, needs to be more critical when it comes to talking about Lyme disease and what it is and what it isn't.
We can't merely platform people because they're famous. We have to be more responsible about it. And unfortunately, we live in this ecosystem where celebrity and notoriety is now conflated with credibility or expertise, and that is leading to a lot of harms.
More than 9,000 people in Canada, the US, and Europe are taking part in phase 3 trials for a new Lyme disease vaccine. Data from those trials is expected to be released this year, with a vaccine possibly available later this decade. Some BC students got a very official note for why they were late for school.
Jokingly, do you mind writing them a late slip?
The signature that sealed the deal, next in our moment. These are some students meeting Prime Minister Mark Carney in Prince Rupert, BC. The kids were excited, but also worried about being late for school. So, how did they avoid getting in trouble from their teachers? Well, with a signed late slip from Carney himself. And that official note makes our moment.
Jokingly, do you mind writing them a late slip? And he's like, yes, of course. So he's trying to find the biggest piece of paper he can to write, because he didn't want to just write it on a small piece of paper. And then he wrote a very nice late slip for the kids so that, you know, they wouldn't get in trouble. They're always late when I drop them off. When Mom drops them off, they're always on time. The principal didn't believe us at first until I literally showed her the picture of them.
It's like he took his job off for being the prime minister for 2 whole minutes and make us a late slip.
I actually was really moved by it. We actually planned on framing it. Felt like he really did care about my kids. And yeah, it was pretty touching.
And if you're wondering why they were sitting in a car when we caught up with them, they were headed to Nate's hockey tournament. So this family might be having the most Canadian week ever. From all of us at The National, thank you for joining us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.